And the families of some of those killed in the 1994 Chinook crash on the Mull of Kintyre say they're angry and disappointed that the Ministry of Defence hasn't organised an official memorial to mark the 30th anniversary of it. It was the RAF's worst peacetime loss of life. 29 people were killed, all 25 passengers and 4 crew, when RAF Chinook ZD576 crashed on the 2nd of June 1994. Well, the Ministry of Defence says its thoughts and sympathies remain with the families, friends and colleagues of those who died. Let's speak now to Dr. Susan Phoenix, whose husband Ian was one of the senior officers killed in the tragedy. Thanks for your time this morning, Dr. Phoenix.
Thanks for having me, Lucy.
You think there should be a memorial?
Well, I am more concerned. Yes, there should obviously be a bigger memorial when you think of the loss of life and how very sad it is, the effort that the Ministry of Defence put into prosecuting old soldiers and policemen from their part in the Troubles. It's a stark contrast to the effort put in to dishonouring and the disregard and disrespect for everyone on that aircraft and their families. They have tried to disregard and push us under the carpet since day one. And unfortunately, in our grief in the early days, we didn't realise that. But as a result of the recent BBC excellent documentary, just recently, it's on iPlayer now, showing that a massive cover-up has happened. And I think this is just one more nail they're trying to put in the coffin to keep those good men's honour down and the families left in limbo.
Well, the MOD, they say in terms of the memorial that they don't routinely commission or fund new memorials, and they also say that the Mull of Kintyre was a tragic accident. Their thoughts and sympathies remain with the families. And in 2010, the Mull of Kintyre independent review was carried out and the findings were fully accepted. Do you accept those findings?
Yeah. No, and of course that's absolute rubbish. It's their arrogance at their best. The findings were overturned that the pilots were at risk, and we had all fought for 17 years alongside those suffering families who suffered as we did, but their sons were dishonoured by the Ministry of Defence and senior echelons of the RAF at the time. I'm incensed because I cannot bear to see injustice. People have been fighting so long, and this, to me, surely at 30 years, it would have been a good time for them to say, well, let's do a really nice memorial service on the Mull of Kintyre or somewhere suitable to do that. I just find that all of the families have been suffering so much. Unfortunately, it seems to have been me that's been at the forefront a lot of the times, but because my son was also an RAF pilot, and we know that other air crashes happened as a result of the Ministry of Defence not activating lessons learned in our crash, and it wasn't a tragic accident. It's a good chance that there was something wrong with that Boeing Chinook at the time.
And I want to ask you more about that in just a minute, but just to point out for people who might not know the sort of ins and outs of this, you're referring there to Flight Lieutenants Richard Cook and Jonathan Tapper. They were the pilots and they were wrongly accused of gross negligence, and after a 17-year campaign that verdict was overturned. Just to fill people in on that part of the story that you were referring to there. So you think that safety concerns were missed then on that night in 1994?
Oh, absolutely. The test pilots in Boscombe Down had downed that particular, or grounded, I think is the word. They had grounded that Chinook just weeks before. They then commissioned it for those 2 unfortunate pilots to take it on a high-profile journey from Northern Ireland with top security experts, including my husband, policemen, social Secret Service guys, everybody fighting the war against terrorism, and they let them go on that aircraft even though the pilots were not happy, and we know that. It wasn't airworthy. I've said recently, Lucy, it's like me saying to you, you can go and drive my car, here's the keys, but it isn't fit to drive, you can switch it on, and that was it. They had switch on only clearance for that aircraft with 29 people on board. There has to be a bigger investigation. Clearing the pilots was good. It should not have taken so long, and that illustrated the beginning of the cover-up. And now this BBC programme, which is on iPlayer, and people should really be encouraged to watch, full of experts saying this was wrong. It was equivalent to corporate manslaughter.
Okay, and just to point out again that the MOD say the Mull of Kintyre was a tragic accident. We're really grateful for you coming on, Dr. Phoenix, and we send our sympathies to you with that anniversary approaching in particular. Thanks very much.